I think it's important to note that clutter is not just about our stuff. It's also about a reflection of what's happening on the inside. Hi, I'm Serene, sharing my journey until now. I have 5 great decluttering tips to share with you today, and no matter where you are on your journey, these will really take you home. And I think it's important to note that clutter is not just about our stuff. It's also about a reflection of what's happening on the inside and the ability for us to see and take note of it on the outside and make that change. All right, let's start with tip number 1. Just start. Just start and start small, whether it's a drawer in the bureau or a drawer anywhere, any drawer, whether it's a closet, if it's a cabinet, or maybe just even a small section of a room, just start. And when you do, whatever item you pick up, ask yourself these simple questions. The first one is, do I use it? And not, did I use it 6 years ago? Do I use it in the sense of, have I used it in the past 6 months? Will I use it in the next 6 months? The next question is, do I love it or do I need it? Not everything that you have in your home you love, but there's a lot of practical items that we need. So you have to answer that question. Do I love it or do I need it? And once you ascertain those answers to those 2 simple questions, you'll be able to determine what it is that you keep. And I think this is wonderful because once you do that, you're now going to surround yourself with things that you love and or things that you use. And it's going to make such a difference. Tip number 2 is 10 minutes a day. You think, oh, what's 10 minutes a day? What am I going to get done? It's amazing because that adds up to a little over an hour a week, and you do end up accomplishing a good amount. And don't worry, it's never going to just be 10 minutes a day. You say it's 10 minutes, but you always want to do more because it's so satisfying and gratifying to go through a drawer or to get through a closet or to fix a shelf on a closet even. So it always ends up being more than 10 minutes, but commit to 10 minutes a day and get everyone in the family involved. If you have kids, get your kids involved. Let it be a thing that is enjoyable, that it's okay, put the timer on for 10 minutes, let's knock this out, as something that you're really doing towards a goal of wanting your home to be the best that it can be. Tip 3 is to finish the area you started before you move on to another area. It's extremely important to commit and to finish it, especially because once you've determined the things that you're going to keep, the things that you use and that you either love or need, then you need to organize them and put them back in the place so that you always know where they're located. And for me, and I'm not going to get too deep into the organizational part of this yet, I'll do another video on that, but I save like my Amazon boxes or, whatever free stuff I have that I can throw things into and just write on the outside with a Sharpie, whatever's going to be put in there. So not just myself knows what goes where, but other people in the household know as well. But it's really important to make sure that you finish an area before you start another one so that you can organize that area, just have everything have a place. And I always like to keep a little bit of space. I don't want the closet packed to the gills again. I don't want the drawer so stuffed that something might actually break if it's being maneuvered around while I'm looking for that thing that I know I put in there. I'd rather it's clear, concise, easy, and not jam-packed. So I always like to leave a little bit of space in whatever I am organizing or whatever I am decluttering. Tip 4 is the I don't know box. I feel like a lot of people who give decluttering tips or information about this talk about having an I don't know box. I'm not sure yet. And I just think that's postponing yet another decision about the stuff. If I'm going to put my hands on something and make a decision at that moment as to whether or not I should keep it. I don't want to have to go waste more time later figuring out if I should keep it or not. And yes, sometimes I think it's okay to have a small bag or box that you put somewhere that you really are just not sure you're going to need it in the next couple of months and that you actually do address it in a couple of months. But usually what happens if you have an I don't know box is it just keeps getting bigger and bigger with more stuff and more stuff. And before you know it, now you have another place that you have to go back and redo a declutter process on something you've already looked at to figure out whether or not you should declutter. And I think the I don't know box, I'd say don't do it more so than do it on any given occasion. Why? Because it really is postponing these decisions, and us getting better at making these kinds of decisions is going to affect us so well in so many areas of our life. So I think it's really important. If you're wondering if you should have an I don't know box, I say don't. Because if you're already holding something in your hand, trying to make a decision as to whether or not you should keep it or not, just make that decision. And that way there, it's not another area you have to go through again. Who knows? Maybe next year, because once you actually do declutter, you don't have to do it all the time. Then you just start living a life where you keep an area the way that it is. You choose not to bring something else in because you're enjoying that area so much. And if you do love something very much or need something very much so that you do want to bring it in, you're willing to let go of something else. So let's just be decisive about our decisions. Let's not have an I don't know box or a maybe box or I'll think about it later box. Let's really make the decision. And if you really don't know, go ahead and keep it and make sure you have a place for it and just work it out, but don't postpone the decision any more than we should. Okay, so we've started. We've asked ourselves these questions to determine what we're keeping, what we're letting go of. We're committing to 10 minutes a day. We're going to finish an area before we start the next area. And hopefully we've decided we're not going to have an I don't know box. And now comes a really important part of this process, and that is only bring in essentials to your home or to your workspace or whatever area you're decluttering. It will make this process go so much smoother. And don't get me wrong, if you absolutely love something that you must have, then go ahead. No one's trying to deprive you of anything. But it's really training ourselves to be able to say, hey, I've made this beautiful place of peaceful, calm, wonderful area where me and my loved ones get to hang out and do I really want to bring this thing into the home, into the workspace? Do I really want to disrupt what great thing we have going on? And what's sort of fun about this is that, number one, you save some money, but you also really start asking yourself about your buying or your spending qualities or traits or, habits. I guess habits is the best word. Your habits, because those are what got us into this situation to begin with, because somehow what's happening on the inside has now, emerged outside, which is why we're addressing the clutter. And I got to say, it's really pretty special when you decide to make that decision to address the clutter that you can see somehow it has this wonderful retrospective, interior, positive impact on ourselves about the things that made us have the clutter to begin with. And it's really the beginning steps of walking through this journey of life, not just because of your stuff, but why it is we even have this kind of clutter happening in our lives. I'd really love to hear the comments that you guys have in regards to tips and things that work for you. Like for me, I love keeping Amazon boxes because even when I'm going through a declutter process, I have a box for keeping and a box for giving away and bring it to Goodwill or give it to somebody that I know can use it. And so I'd love to hear whatever it is you guys have to offer, folks who are really going through this process. And what's really fun is that once you do declutter, it's not like you have to do this all the time. You really start enjoying your space in this clutter-free space. And so it's sort of like it depends. It could be monthly, it could be yearly, it could be every couple of years, but it really has such a wonderful impact. And the first time is the most difficult, but the most important thing is just to start and commit to 10 minutes a day. And you'll be amazed as to how much better things are getting every day, every week, every month. And eventually you'll be finding yourself in a place that clutter is not an issue for you anymore, and you're living life. Guys, I'm looking forward to talking about this a little bit more in some more detail in the next video. Until then, shine.